Construction projects are not for lighthearted. There are ridiculous amount of moving parts and details and people involved. How do we manage it all? I'll tell you all about it in today's video. Hello, welcome back to Space for Edit. My name is Cynthia. I am an interior designer, and on this channel we talk about all the things that they don't teach you in design school but you need to know in the real world. So every construction project goes through different stages. There is a structure to this madness. There has to be, otherwise nothing will get finished and there would be a lot of disappointed people involved. In today's video, I wanted to look at RIBA Plan of Work schedule and sort of figure out where interior designers kind of fit in all of this RIBA architectural universe. What is RIBA Plan of Work, you might ask? Let's actually start with what is RIBA. If you're not a design professional based in the UK, then you might not have an idea. So basically, in their own words, the Royal Institute of British Architects is a global professional membership body driving excellence in architecture. We serve our members and society in order to deliver better buildings and places, stronger communities and sustainable environment, being inclusive, ethical, environmentally aware and collaborative underpins all that we do. As the RIBA description itself says, it's mostly geared towards architecture and architects, but interior designers are a massive part of this whole process. So we are kind of not tagging along, but we are slotting into the process as well. So it's really important for us to understand what everyone is going through and what role do we actually play. The RIBA process is obviously mostly used in the UK, but other countries will have similar kind of programs or similar governing bodies that have set up this sort of process. So wherever you are in the world, I would suggest to kind of do a little Google and have a look to see what else is there in your country. I will leave a link below to the full document of Plan of Work, which is about 150 pages, if not more long. If we would go through page by page on this video, we're gonna be here all day. Although we don't have the time now, I would suggest to go and have a look. Maybe have a skim through if you have the time, properly read through the document, because again, it is very useful. There's a lot of information that you can take onto your own practice and just develop yourself as a professional. There are 8 stages in total, starting from 0. And I would say that there's 3 main parts or 3 main characters in the process. It is the client, it is the design team, and the contractor team. As you can see, it's a team, it's not a single person. The reason being is that most of the times this sort of process, or like the official RIBA stages, are applied to bigger projects. So it's never going to be just one person, just one client, or just one designer. There will be a team, and even in design team, if you go through the document, you will see that there's architects and there's interior designers, and there's actually other consultants and specialists that help us to do our work. So like I said, a lot of moving parts, a lot of people involved. Let's look through the stages one by one, and I will basically give you a quick breakdown and tell you what each stage is about. Stage 0 and 1, strategic definition, preparation and briefing. So the first 2 stages are just for the client only, and if you look through the document, you will see that there shouldn't be any design team involved. This is very much for the client to have their shizzle together, to just educate them and let them know that they need to think about all the important things before they actually go and employ a design team. So this could really be about the exploration of the site, of the actual land, or those are questions about sustainability, about longevity of the building. There's prompts to think about the budget, the brief in general. So everything needs to be thought through before you actually go to the architects, to the designers. So everything is in place, and once the design team comes on board, all the information is there and everyone can start their work efficiently and straight on. This really is a thing of an ideal world scenario. Not all points are always discussed prior to getting design team on board, unfortunately, especially for smaller projects, but definitely for bigger jobs, for bigger projects and bigger buildings. If you think of something that hasn't been built yet and there is an actual team who is doing this research bit, who's putting together the brief, and they are actually paid to do that, that usually happens in those bigger projects. Stages 2, 3 and 4, concept, to technical design. This is where we actually join the party. It could be as early as stage 2, but most of the time it will be somewhat towards the end of stage 3 or even stage 4, where the actual architectural design is somewhat completed, so we can come in and actually work on approved floor plans. So obviously, concept stage for architects will be where they start to develop the concept of the building, of the development. They get their inspiration, they do their research, and they kind of come up with the bones of the building. So once the bones, the concept, the look is sort of figured out, that's where interior designers can come in and actually start to create the inside, the interior of it all. At the end of these 3 stages, you should technically have a detailed design that's been approved and revised, a project timeline, and a budget. So we know how much this is going to cost. We have asked the trades how much their work would be. We know what the design is like. We have worked on the design detail, both architects and designers, and everything is basically ready to go. That's in an ideal world. In the real world, that doesn't always happen. Design freeze for most projects is almost non-existent, and I'm just saying, I know there are a lot of you who have experience in the field will be nodding along and saying the same. In a way, it's just the nature of the beast. Nothing in life, in business, in construction projects ever goes 100% as planned. You can be as meticulous, as well organized as you want to be, but there will always be something that comes up, whether it's something that's on site and can't be built the way that was intended to, or maybe the budget doesn't stretch as far, so we need to adapt the design. And this is kind of got a domino effect on everything else. So you have to think about maybe changing the concept, the finishes, then you need to contact your suppliers and come up with new timelines and deliveries and check if everything is in stock. And there's just a lot of moving parts again. So in an ideal world, it's sort of a moving process. As long as everyone involved are respecting each other, respecting the other party's time, then the project can still move on. We just need to make sure that we keep in touch and we communicate with each other. Most of the time that happens, but it's real life. I'm gonna tell you how it is. There's a lot of times where there's heads butting each other and awkward conversations. Alright, so from interior designers kind of standpoint, what do we do in whether it's from stage 2 to stage 3 or whether it's within stage 4 when we are actually appointed? So for the concept, we will first of all go to site if the site is already built, do our surveys, or maybe we will just work from the architectural drawings. So we will come up with the concept with our mood boards, with our concept visuals, with examples of finishes, 3D walkthroughs, everything that's visual and needs to kind of paint the picture of it. Stage 3, spatial coordination. This is where we will reach out to our suppliers, our contractors, joiners, consultants, and get their costs in so we can create our budget plan. I do have a few videos on cost plans, how to put them together, what goes into it, how much, even an example of a project and how much it has costed. So make sure to check them below in the description box. And stage 4, obviously the technical design or the detailed design, is where we go through all of our designs, our proposals with fine-tooth comb and detail it all to make sure that there's enough of description, enough of specification to be passed on to the construction team. They can then take it onto site and make it all happen. All of that could be kind of squeezed into that stage 4, which happens a lot, and that's the main practice. But the only issue there is that I often find that there's not enough time allowed for the interior design team to come in and do their work. If we go back to stage 0, 1, stage 2, kind of that preparation stage where they figure out the timescales, they don't allow enough time for us to come in and do our work. So ideally, if we can join the party as early as possible, that is great, but that doesn't always happen. Okay guys, we are halfway through the video. If you are still here, I'm assuming that you are enjoying, that you are vibing with this content. If you are, can I please ask you to leave a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe to the channel if this is something you want to see more of. It takes seconds for you, but it really improves this channel's growth and really is a reward for me as an creator. Okay, thank you. Let's get on with the video. Stage 5, manufacturing and construction. Here is where technically no more design work should be involved. Technically. More often than not, especially for interior designers, this is where the tedious revision work commences and it's just never-ending process. Something has gone wrong on site, or the client changes their mind, or there's just so many moving parts and so many things that could come up and change the design. So we are there to really just visualize it all. So whether that is new visuals, new concept boards, new mood boards, definitely a lot of CAD work involved in this stage. But again, on the other side, construction is where all the magic starts to happen, because this is a stage where you actually can go on site and start to see things taking shape. The joiners are doing their thing, flooring, decoration are going in, features are being installed, and it all just starts to come together. Stage 6, handover. So depending on the project, this could be carried out in different ways, but most of the times a handover meeting is where all the parties included, or maybe the leads of each party, a design team lead, a architect lead, a construction lead, the client, everyone is sort of walking around the space, tying up any loose ends. Maybe there's something that's not installed right, or you are still waiting on some features, electrics still need to be tied up. There is always something that hasn't been finished in time for the handover meeting. So this is the opportunity to walk through, rectify the mistakes made, and just make a plan for when this can actually be done and finished. So ideally it needs to be finished as soon as possible, but there are times when these snags, aka things to do, are still being finished few weeks afterwards. So it could be a case of maybe sectioning off certain areas, or not opening certain rooms, or even just doing some construction work, decoration work after the opening hours of the building, because the business needs to get going, the business needs to open, start generating revenue, and just because we haven't met some deadlines doesn't mean that they can't open the business. Obviously, considering all health and safety rules are met. During the handover stage, design team will also produce O&M manuals, O&M standing for operations and maintenance. So when it comes down to the interior design elements, this is your furniture, the finishes, how it should be treated, how it should be washed, the flooring, how that should be cleaned, deep cleaned, how often. All of these things need to kind of be put together in one big lovely document and passed on to the client, and then they just give it to the relevant teams on their own side. Stage 7, use. This stage is very much the actual use of the building. No design work or construction work should be involved. If there is, then that sort of starts another process of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stages, and that is seen as a new project. And that is how we are supposed to do it here in the UK, according to RIBA. Like I said in the beginning, it is geared towards architecture, architects, construction, but interior designers play integral role in this whole process. So we need to know what is going on, what people are doing, what are we expected to be doing. So I hope this video has been useful. With this video, I'm actually starting a new series where I'm going to be taking you stage by stage, step by step through the interior design process. Along the way, I will share the do's, the don'ts, the specifics, and all sorts of things that could come up during each stage. I have made a video about all of these stages already. It is one of my first videos ever on YouTube, so tiny bit cringy at parts, so hence why I'm redoing it all. So whilst you wait for the series to start, you can always go and check it out. There will be a link in the description below, as well as I'm going to link it at the end of this video. Okay, that's it from me today. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to kind of connect on one-to-one level, make sure you hit me up on Instagram. But if not, I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!